Present.
Here comes Parker.
Rick?
Yep.
Darlene is here.
I'm here.
Parker's coming on.
Yep.
Molly's trying to get on, or she's on phone. So the only one's missing is Nick Azzolini. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right.
There he is.
Hello, Parker.
I'm here. I didn't realize I had to unmute myself.
Okay. We're all here except Nick. Parker.
Nick couldn't get on till at 4:30 starting time, so
Yeah. First of all, item is approval of the minutes from the August 6th meeting.
I make a motion we approve them.
I second it. Oh, I can't. I
All in
abstain.
favor?
I
I
can't.
Raise your hand. Public input. Molly, are you on with us now?
Sure, can you hear me?
Wait, Dick, I need to back up. I have to abstain on the minutes because I wasn't here for the full agenda.
I thought you were here though, Tim. Were you not?
I was 9 minutes late and I missed part of it.
Okay.
So I had,
So noted. Tim abstains from voting. Okay, public input. Molly, can you give us what you have?
Sure, can you hear me okay?
No.
no.
Come on, Miley, we need that public input.
Samantha,
You are
do you have a copy of it?
You're also muted, Miley.
I'm going to go ahead and read the first public comment. Miley just forwarded it to me while she works out her sound issues.
Good.
So our first public comment is from Mandy Hamilton.
Okay.
First of all, we'd like to thank the city, Jordan Gilmore and his team, and Dave Cook and his team for working out a way for us to play golf on the course. The course is in very good condition, and it is clear that everyone has been working hard to manage the golfers' needs. The maintenance crew has done a great job maintaining the course with both manpower restrictions and COVID-19 restrictions. Online booking system. Regarding the online booking, whatever was in place prior to COVID seemed to work for both the pro shop and the golfers. We used to call in at 6 a.m. 7 days in advance and had no issues with getting a tee time. There was online booking previously too. However, the online system in place now is not only difficult to book, but it is not a stable system. It is causing frustration with the golfers and the pro shop. Since we are now able to purchase items in the shop as before and pay in the shop, why not go back to the old tried and true process?
Amen.
Bathrooms. The ladies' bathroom at the snack bar is in a dreadful state. Lighting is poor. Toilet seats loose and almost falling off. It feels very, very dirty with toilet paper, seat covers, soap, and paper towels not always there. If this is to be officially open, it needs to be in better shape and certainly needs to be cleaned at least once a day. These observations are based on morning visits. To be honest, many of these complaints are valid prior to COVID, but I'd like to take the opportunity to try to have them addressed now. Rakes, bunkers, and markers. Is there a timetable in place yet for return of the rakes and the other distance markers? We realize this is not a high priority. Thank you again, Mandy and Tom Hamilton, San Clemente residents. The second public comment is from James Kemp. Dear San Clemente Golf Committee, the online booking system is not acceptable. It has made it impossible to book consecutive tee times. The golf course is a municipal property operated for the benefit of city residents. The online system gives no preference to San Clemente residents. The online system has added an additional expense for no reason. It also does not work with the Mac computer, Safari browser, and others. Return to the call-in booking solves these problems, saves the city money, and it works. Online booking must be replaced immediately by returning to a pro shop call-in book-in. And that's the last public comment we have.
Okay.
Miley, if you're still there and trying to, you're muted right now, so you have to unmute yourself, by the way.
I am still here. Can you hear me okay?
Nope.
Stay
No, we
muted.
can't.
Stay muted. So, folks, as a kind of an etiquette on being on this this system of Zoom, if they want to say something, raise your hand in front of the camera so we can see, and I'll stop for any question or comment that you might have. Okay, so that will be the way we'll conduct it. All right, old business, development of committee work plan for 2021. Everybody get the Smiley's outline of what we all said?
Yes.
So basically, everybody submitted something except for Nick, as I understand. Is that correct, Samantha?
That's correct.
All right, so what is our procedure, Samantha? Are we supposed to pick 3 items out of these, or 4 items? What's the procedure that we're supposed to pick? How are we supposed to proceed with this?
It really depends on what the committee feels like is the tangible and achievable goals. There's no real limit on the number of items that you choose to put forward, but I would encourage you to be mindful of the, if you're picking off huge pieces, be mindful of the committee's time as well as staff's time on what could be accomplished in the coming year. So there's no limit, but as you'll note as you go through the report, there's certainly a theme. Many of the comments had the same kind of idea behind them. They might have been worded a little bit different, but you saw that, and it's broken up kind of by category. And then, and I'll leave it up to you, Dick, how you want to run it, but we can go through kind of area by area. There's some comments that Jordan might have or I might have related to some of the items and maybe how we could move forward without making it a work plan item. I would encourage the committee to look at this, kind of take yourself out of COVID-19 times. I know that's really difficult because we've been so knee deep in it for too many months. But this should really be a long-term kind of over the course of the year. What are we hoping for to accomplish? Again, thinking that COVID is not going to be around forever. So if you put yourself back to January of this year before all this started, what would you wanted to have worked on? So keep that in mind as you guys go through the items. So I'm happy to answer questions as well as Jordan at any point in time if that helps guide it. And then as it comes to the worksheet, Dick, that's something you and I can work on, or I can fill it in and shoot it over to you after this so you kind of get the sign off on it. I think the goal is really for Dick as our chairman to have a general idea of what the committee wants, because Dick's going to have to go before council and answer any questions that might come up.
Okay. All right, so I guess we should all be participating. We don't need to create a subcommittee for this, do we, to write it up? I think we all want to be part of this. Is that
We
correct?
agreed that we would finish it today, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's take the first item on the agenda report here, rates. Do we want to discuss rates? Did everybody feel that we should discuss rates?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Yes.
a rate review. I mean, Chris and I were part of a team, and honestly I forget if someone else may have been on there with us. But we did a rate review last year. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, darling. The three of us. That was and the review was mostly dismissed. I think really just kind of with Gus on his way out. So I think it would be good to rekindle that, and you'll see referenced in there twice. There's a frequent players card or a players club. I think something like that might be a nice asset to add to the mix for non-residents.
So for rates as a whole, if the committee agrees, that basically is one work plan item. There's nothing else you guys would need to discuss tonight. It would come back at a later meeting. And it could be that at your next meeting, you kind of divvy out, is that a subcommittee? Is it something everybody works on collectively? To your point, Parker, you guys did do a lot of work on a rate increase. It was supposed to go into effect July 1st of 2020. That definitely got put on pause. It never made its way to council because COVID hit when it was supposed to go, and we were kind of all turned upside down. So, and we can get into that in the next item, but I'm happy to move that forward to council as is, or we can put pause on it to understand what it looks like now, as obviously we've seen a lot of changes. But I think as a whole, the group wants to see rates addressed, so that's your work plan item, if that makes sense.
Right. And I like the template that they've given us because it does say, is this a new project or an unfinished project from a prior fiscal year? What are the resources that you need? What do you think the timeline will be? And this one is something that we can say will be in short order because we know we want to do this and we already have some recommendations.
Is this something we want to send to the city council right away?
Well, we have to put it in our work plan to say we're going to work on it in the next fiscal year.
Yeah. Well, I thought we already approved it. It just hadn't gone to city council. Is that correct?
Yes, so we can do one of two things. If you feel comfortable with the rates that were discussed, and I believe it was a $2 overall increase, is that correct? Anybody remember? I think it was $1 and then $1 again. Does that sound right?
And Samantha, I think we had two things. Chris Elbridge, I'm sorry, and I should have raised my hand. We had two things working. Parker and I did some work and looked at our rates and looked at competitive courses in the area. And what was, I'm not sure it was accurately reflected exactly what we had identified. There is a gap, and arguably a substantial gap, when you look at weekend play here at the Muni versus at other courses around. But I think it was an easy button was, let's do $1 for residents and $2 for non-residents. I think if we're going to look at this, we should spend a little more time. I've done some research on it, and I think it's appropriate for the entire committee to look at where we are by comparison, and also, again, to get feedback from the shop. If we're going to do this, let's do it right, let's do it thorough, let's do it one time, and arguably have a plan for, here's where we are this year, and then here's what we look at in the future.
So are you going to revise? Sorry, are you going to revise your and Parker's deal from last year? Is that what you're going to do?
We're going to go out and get information, which I've done some of the background on it already, and we're going to present that to the committee. And as a committee, we will look at it, talk about it, and decide what direction we want to go in.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
You feel that same way too?
Yeah, that sounds good to me because honestly, it was done a while ago, so we need to make sure what we're looking at is current and go from there.
So let's just leave it as one of our projects, as annual work review, okay? Samantha?
You got it. Yep, we will add it. And so I'll push pause on taking it to council. I think that gives you guys an opportunity to look at some type of resident frequent players card. There's other suggestions that come up later on in the course of this agenda as well. So that will give a really comprehensive scope that we can look at.
So we have our next meeting scheduled for November 1st. Is that the first part of November? Is that correct?
Yes.
So we're presenting this work program plan, and then we're going to discuss this on November, so we should be able to send this to the city council in November.
So the work plan that we're talking about tonight is going to go to the city council as early as October 1st, depending on when the city clerk is able to get it onto the agenda. And I'll confirm those details with you, Dick, ahead of time. But the goal is October 1st. And then from there, and I'm going to say, I feel pretty confident that the city council is going to be okay with us looking at our rates. Because at the end of the day, we know that we're not too high. We know that we're not going to be lowering rates. So in that sense, I feel like it's a comfortable position for us to continue forward, to look at fee structures and our rates as a whole. So if it's something that the subcommittee that previously worked on this wants to kind of reconvene, I'm happy to support that at the staff level as well. And maybe we can then continue ahead of the work plan to land some final details for the November committee meeting, if that makes sense. So we're going to do a little front work. And again, I feel confident that council will be comfortable with this movement.
Good, okay. Everybody okay with that? Moving on to the next item was booking, marketing, tea times. So,
And again, this is, I think, something, it's kind of nicely laid out. So thank you, Miley. I think it gives us 4 different pieces we can put into our work plan and say, these are all the types of things that we want to work on. I mean, that's the whole point of doing the work plan. So we don't have to do all of that work today. But I think under this particular section, this is something that has long been coming that we need to work on. And definitely it's not just about changing the booking and the tea time schedule, but instead it's also about marketing outside of where we currently market.
So this section could be, I mean, if you wanted to, the only thing that might not match in this particular area is that marketing component. As many of you know, marketing can be a beast in and of itself. Taking bookings and tea times away from that. They certainly go hand in hand, and there's a lot of connectivity to that. I understand that. But if there's a desire to market specifically, you might choose to break those two apart. But that's totally up to the committee. It just seemed like some of the comments were themed together. So as a preface for you guys.
well, I'll tell you from my perspective, I don't know how you all feel, but the bookings, trying to get the reservation system is not functioning now. I'd rather not wait till November, December to try to discuss how it's gonna change or be effective. It's not effective. It's not working. So for the citizens, and I'm really concerned that we postpone this for another 2 or 3 months before we discuss it.
So we can put changes ahead of time. We don't necessarily want to get into, we can't go off item at this point because we have to focus on the agenda item in front of us, unfortunately. But what we can do is do some work, and if there's a couple committee members that want to work directly on this with myself and Miley and Jordan and the Pro Shop, I'm happy to move that forward so it's not delayed. I am fully aware of the booking issues, and we can talk about that now, or we can wait until the kind of the staff reports. You want to wait so
Let's
we can get
wait
through
till staff
this?
reports, yeah.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Okay, any other comments on bookings, marketing? You want to keep them together? You want to separate them? Mark, you're marketing executive here. What do we do?
Well, in my mind, I think the only reason marketing would really be lumped in there is because the 4UP software has a marketing component to it.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, they're 2 distinct things. So, if we want to lump it together by saying we're going to review the 4UP software and maximize its functionality, that would cover booking and marketing in one fell swoop. If we wanted to talk about it that way.
So let's leave the way it is. Everybody agreed to that?
Leave what the way it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Booking, marketing, tea times.
No, I want to get rid of the booking online. I want it back in the shop.
Well, we're going to talk about it in new business.
Well, why did you ask then?
So
It's an item that we have to. Is it a work item for us or not?
I think your work item, to sum it up, is to review the T reservation system. So then, to Parker's point, that would fully encompass all of what 4UP does, as well as looking at, should it be through the shop, should it be online, should it be phone in? You're going to get those kind of tentacles that branch off of that specific conversation.
We can broach that in item 7. Items from committee members.
Yeah.
Well, and remember, we had an online reservation system before COVID.
Yeah.
It just, you know,
It
was
was
a
working
hybrid system. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the question remains, do we leave booking marketing in there as a work item? I guess we do we not? Whatever happens in the next few weeks or next week or today, we'll still have to discuss it. Is that correct?
So my thoughts around the marketing plan when I put that in there is to be a separate and distinct item about how we market to people in the same way that under operations and policies, I added a change leadership plan as well as a diversity and inclusion plan. From my standpoint, those are all functions of marketing, is making sure that we're getting new and different people onto our course. And so I think that those are more high level. That's a work plan. That's something that you work on for a longer period of time than just talking about the system that you're using, even though the system might have a marketing component included inside of it. I don't know if that is making sense, but that's how I was thinking about it when I put that in.
So are you saying, good? Yeah, Chris?
Chris, I think what I'm hearing is, let's look at a long-term plan, a long-term strategy. But today we have short-term problems and challenges. I'm a little concerned that, you know, we would love to blame it all on the website, but when you set the tee times at 12 minutes or 15 minutes apart, no website is going to satisfy demand when we have plenty of demand to have tee times at 8 minutes apart. And when we have the cheapest golf course for a non-resident of San Clemente anywhere in South County, we're creating additional demand for folks out of town, while at the same time having short supply. And so I think we focus first on the tee times, how many we have, what the frequency is, and then second on how do we reserve those tee times, and then eventually we get to the marketing component. That's my vote.
It's the high level.
That sounds great to me.
Okay, so give this one more time. So is our number 2, number 1 is rates. Is this going to be booking tee times? Is that going to be our number 2 without the marketing aspect?
I think yes.
Okay, you okay with that,
How-
Darla?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we'll amend the booking marketing, Samantha, to booking tee times. Simple. All right. Any other questions, comments? We move on to the next item.
Yep.
Operations/policies. We have resolution 15-42.
That's the resolution that's attached to the next agenda item. It is regarding the operations for the golf course. I believe it was 1998, and then I think it had one kind of additional iteration related to personal carts on the course and what would be required or not allowed for personal carts. And that came in the early 2000s. So from a staff perspective, this is a big goal and a really big launch because it would certainly clean up and clear the air of what is and is not allowed operationally on the course. It covers everything from tee times to there's another resolution that's related to fees, but tournaments, league play, juniors, it covers everything under the sun. So this is really, I think, everything you're looking at right now is definitely included in the operating resolution.
All right, what's everybody's thoughts on this, the operations and policy? Do we want to have that as one of our major items?
Yeah, I say we go back to it. It was working fine.
Okay. Any other comments?
Well, it sounds like something that the city wants us to review and update if it's
Yeah.
20-something years old. So I'm sure there are some passages in there that are out of date.
They definitely are.
Yeah. Okay, so Samantha, that's your third one.
Was there a want to at all address the marketing as a separate component, or was that lumped into? Because I thought there were two strange kind of thought process in that.
Marketing is down the road, isn't that? Did we agree on that? It's a longer term project for us.
Okay, you got it.
You know, I think we should not forget it, but it's certainly, you know, that's been Parker's mantra for 10 years now, is marketing. So,
All right.
all right, the fourth item is capital improvement maintenance programs. So my proposal under that was to redo the putting green, which I've been pushing for years. And that's a major deal, and that's probably for next year's big project. Would you agree, Jordan?
Yeah, certainly not this year, but we can look at it maybe this time next year. I would think next summer we can look at it.
Okay.
So if we were to make then our fourth grouping around capital improvements and move the establish or a tree replacement policy down there, we can then take a work group and have us go through each one of these capital improvements and see which ones we want to put forth.
Yep. Yep.
Well, a lot of this would be pretty much up to Jordan.
Yep. I would like to comment. Consider scheduling annual replacement of driving range mats. That's Dave's deal. It's not the city. Just so you know. So if you don't like them, ask Dave.
So for your work plan item, it might be something that the committee will seek to develop a priority capital improvement project list. I think that's kind of your headline, if you will. And then if you choose to break that off into a subcommittee, you're welcome to do so. From a timing perspective, I think it's a phenomenal idea. And if we can get ourselves into the budget process and look at that as well, that cues us up for January, February, which is a good thing. And again, I think if we can start looking at maybe, you know, the short-term CIP list to the long-term, those wants and goals, we can also maybe better budget and afford our resources and allocate them appropriately.
Okay. All right. Okay. Does that complete our work template?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, so would you like to meet with me or a couple of members of the committee? How would you like to proceed with this, Samantha?
Well, I can go ahead and take this information and fill out that PDF template and circulate it to you, Dick. And if there's a couple other members that want to join in, we can do 3. If that's the case, I'm happy to do that. You let me know.
How do you all feel?
Sure, I'd love to be a part of it.
Anybody else?
I would enjoy that, yes. Chris Eldridge.
Yep.
I'm available too.
Hey, Parker? Is that the,
That's
how
that's
many
too many.
3 others besides me? Is that what it is? Is that too many?
Well, what we could do is I can work with Parker, Darlin, and Chris and circulate the templates to them, and then ultimately, once they're good with it, I can send it to you, Dick, for just your final A-OK, because you're going to be the one presenting it, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
And there's no secrets here because we've just discussed it, and everybody's on the same page. So.
Are you all set? Okay with that? Dealing one-on-one with Samantha on that, Chris?
Sounds great.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
All right. Well, that was pretty quick. Update of fee and policy resolutions. Isn't that
I
what-
do have a public comment on this item.
Yep.
Would you like to hear that now?
Yes, we can hear you too. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Just phone it in.
Sure. Alrighty. Dear Chairman Bale, as the current president of the Exchange Club of San Clemente, I'm writing on behalf of the entire Exchange Club, and most particularly our many Exchange Club golfers. As I'm sure you and the committee are already aware, the Exchange Club is one of the 7 community organizations listed in Resolution 15-42 under Section 1D regarding local groups that are authorized to establish standing blocks of tee times. The Exchange Club of San Clemente has been a long-standing community organization whose mission is unity for service. In July, our club celebrated its 55th year of service in the city of San Clemente, and throughout that entire period, the Exchange Club has given hundreds of thousands of dollars in support of many local San Clemente nonprofits, social service groups, and charitable organizations. The local Boys and Girls Club, the Marines, Sailors and Families of Camp Pendleton, organizations that focus on the prevention of child abuse, Toys for Tots, Police, Firefighter, and Lifeguard of the Year awards are just a few of the many worthwhile community support programs our club has championed over the years of its existence. For many years, the Exchange Club held a standing block of tee times at the municipal golf course on Thursday afternoons starting at 1 o'clock p.m. In years past, membership in the Exchange Club grew to between 60 and 70, with 2/3 of those members being golfers who always looked forward to the Thursday afternoon golf schedule, with following weekly club meetings at the course. Over the last 10 years, however, we've experienced a reduction in membership, as many other local service clubs have also experienced. Our present membership numbers 32, with approximately 20 of that group still being enthusiastic golfers. Due to several factors, including the need to change our meeting location, recent COVID pandemic restrictions, and others, it has become no longer convenient for the Exchange Club to utilize the Thursday afternoon tee time block. Therefore, the purpose of this letter is to respectfully ask that the Golf Committee grant approval for the Exchange Club to transfer its previous Thursday afternoon block of tee times to Wednesday morning, which for at least the last 5 years, we have routinely had a large group of Exchange Club golfers play the course every Wednesday morning on a week-in, week-out basis. Dave Cook and the Pro Shop can attest to this history. If such a transfer of blocked tee times to Wednesday morning is considered possible, we would ask to block only 4 consecutive tee times beginning at 8:30 a.m. Additionally, the Exchange Club would be agreeable and willing to abide by any pushback of our Wednesday morning tee times when the men's club or any other official tournament event should be scheduled for early Wednesday morning play. On behalf of all golfers within the Exchange Club, I sincerely appreciate your committee's consideration of this request. Should you require any additional information, feel free to contact me. Larry Reynolds, President, Exchange Club of San Clemente.
Okay.
That's 4 tee times once a week.
Every Wednesday morning
Yeah.
at 8:30.
I know all those guys are righteous. I make a motion that we let them transfer from Thursday afternoon to Wednesday morning.
I second it.
Tim
Does that
seconded.
affect any other one of the regular plays?
Is
No,
it,
we never did when we didn't have this pandemic.
when's the tin whistle?
We didn't affect anything.
Yeah.
And they always moved aside for the men's club tournaments.
The Tin Whistle group plays on Fridays.
Friday.
So there's right now that any of us know of, there's no conflict on Wednesday morning starting at 8:30.
Once in a while, the men's club have their tournaments about that time, and they put this group behind, which they're willing to do, as stated in the letter.
Yeah, I think the men's club does it once a month on Wednesdays, but like Rick said, they'll adjust if needed. So
But doesn't the men's club start at 10 o'clock?
I only play on Saturdays, and they usually start at 6:30 or so.
Well, yeah.
I don't
I
think
think
there's a
4
problem.
tee times in the middle.
I don't think there's a problem, and I think they're willing to be flexible and not play that Wednesday if there's a tournament. They said that in the letter.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion on that? We have a motion and a second. Anybody else want to discuss that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Are you opposed, Chris?
No, I was a little late with my eye.
Okay, all right, good. That
You're
passes.
now a J.
And since this is part of the resolution, it'll be good to be going through each one of these and understanding when their playtime is, and, you know, so all of that will be part of that resolution review.
Look, there are a lot of things that need to be changed in that that I know of already. I mean, the Family Assistance Ministries gets a shotgun tournament, for instance. We just had it 2 weeks ago. So,
And I noticed Parks and Recreation wasn't mentioned in there either.
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Okay. New business, Greens Committee sub-report. Did everybody get the report that we did on our tour?
Yeah.
If not, it's in the back of this packet.
So, I have no other comment on that other than, you know, we did the best we could, and Jordan was terrific as expected.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I just walked in, guys.
No.
Vinny,
Just kidding.
All right, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little
Sorry,
just finished up. If you guys need anything from me.
not yet. We haven't got
Okay.
there yet. Just a
Okay.
second. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, we'd like you to pay for our refreshments.
Vinny, it's a good time that you came in because eventually we're going to be talking about online booking.
Okay.
Okay, we finished new business communications. Whose phone is that?
Mine.
Pretty good timing on communications there.
Miley, do you have anything on communications? Or Jordan? No?
I haven't received any of the
No.
communications.
Okay.
No.
Items from staff. Jordan?
Items from staff. Oh, that we're looking up though.
That would be you.
Yeah. Yeah, we just finished our bunker trim, so that feels good. Yeah, it's nice driving around and seeing some detail work getting done. So we're just starting on that. Yeah, basically we are just busy demoing some fairway units, and it's keeping our staff busy, our mechanic busy right now. Starting to get caught up on mowing, so we're trying to do some detail work. I sent the guy out this morning to trim the yardage blades. I know that kind of came up a few times. So, yeah, just starting to do little stuff like that, and yeah, it feels good. Doing some trim around the perimeter along 5, I forget the name of the street, San Luis Rey. Yep. Yeah, we trimmed that, so it's looking nice to the neighbors, and yeah, not much to report. We're just kind of surviving, waiting to hire an assistant somewhere down the road and another entry-level employee.
You also edged some of the greens.
Yep. Yeah, we've been doing that for a while pre-COVID, but that was the first time we got to do it since February. So we're starting to get back into routine of doing some detailed stuff like that that's been neglected. So we're, you know, stuff like the potting green wasn't looking too good, so we're starting to do some soil amendments and flushing and just some like pencil tine aeration. We're starting to do that once a month now because we missed an aeration in May, so you'll see us doing that a little more often just to keep these greens healthy.
But they're holding really well.
Good. Good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the bunkers are looking great, Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, I try to avoid them, but they look much improved just within the last.
Yeah, our staff did awesome. Ed Stewart's contracting guys were awesome. I had to commend it to them. They did it like during the hottest heat stretch of the year. So, yeah, it was awesome. Everybody stepped up on our crew. So I'm proud of them.
Can you explain a little bit about the landscape contractor?
Little Pitch?
Who is it? And what's the deal with them? Is this?
the name of the company is Little Page. So they send 2 guys over every Wednesday and Thursday for a few hours in the morning, and they trim everywhere from number 1 tee, 10 tee, the putting green area, the driving range area, and then on Thursdays they work solely in the wedding area, the wedding chapel.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, they do a great job.
Any questions for Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan, we mentioned the nursery area back behind 7 Green. I think it was
18.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
18
yeah.
Yeah.
But so is that when are you going to start working on that?
We'll start stripping it. Hopefully this winter. We want to get it totally prepped and ready for plugs when we harvest them during aeration in either March or May, preferably March. So we'll start dumping plugs just to reuse material. It's kind of like free grass, free bent grass.
Okay.
So but yeah, next spring, and then hopefully it'll be looking good by summertime.
Okay, is that enough? Is that everything? Okay, items from staff was finished. Let's do items from committee members. I'll start at the bottom of my screen is Tim. Tim Kiernan, do you want to start us off with items,
Well, I don't have anything to add to what we've already mentioned on our list. So, no, I don't have anything new.
Okay. Parker?
I guess I was happy to see the back 9 tee times come online, to become available again. So I booked my first one already. Looking forward to that. I mean, I don't know if we want to talk about the online system or allowing walk-ups or increasing, going to 10-minute intervals or something like that. Or is this the time where we can do
Rick's
that?
going to bring that up.
Yeah, now would be the time.
Rick's going to bring it up.
Okay. And like I said, the only other thing I think I would add is I'd love to see the yardage posts in the fairway. We've got the 150-yard marker out there,
yeah.
but the 200 and the 100 would be nice.
You want them in the fairway instead of the rough? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if they're in the fairway, I probably won't hit them. If they're in the rough, they'll probably be in my way. That's how I play.
No, I'm just curious because I thought I did not a lot of other courses do that, and it's kind of like a landing area, so like a target. So
No, I
No,
like
I'm
them
open
where
to
they
that.
are. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Okay, Darlin, you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. Rick?
Well, are we going to talk about the tee times or what?
Yeah. That's your deal, man.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Well, I want to bunch the company. I don't know what we're paying for. All they did was come on and give us a bunch of grief and charge us for it. So I want to get the control back into the shop where they can put more players out. And this 12 to 14 minutes or whatever intervals, get it back down to 8 or 9. We can wait till they get off the green on one, and by the third hole, we've caught them when we're 100 yards away. Golf is social distancing anyway, so what's the point of having tee times 13, 12 minutes apart? Put them out there the way we had them, 8 or 9, and let Dave and the crew handle.
So what does it cost us, Samantha, to hire that, that computer company that does the tee times?
So, a couple things. We did have for it previously, and what that was used for was just reserving your tee times. At this point, what we've added is the online point of sale system, which is something that we'd like to continue to offer as an option to make payments online or save credit cards. And the reason why we implemented that is to allow for contactless payment in light of COVID. We are doing this across all city facilities. You cannot go anywhere right now and pay in person. That is a standard operation that we've made, whether it's the Aquatic Center or the Community Center or the Ole Hansen Beach Club. You can't make payment anywhere in person. It's all online right now. granted, we do want to see that change. This is not meant to be permanent. We are very cognizant and aware of where the county lands right now with where it's at on the governor's watch list, which is now off. But we're giving ourselves time, as is the county, to see how this shakes out. As we all know, we got into stage 3 and very quickly landed on the watch list, the county as a whole. And the goal is to not move backwards in this effort. We don't want to start rolling back tea times. We want to continue to move forward. So from a cost perspective, it's about $2,300 annually for the point of sale component. Now, we're not using the full scope of that. To Parker's point, there is just a multitude of marketing tools in there. There's a lot of different notification systems. There's quite a bit of additional components that can be utilized for 4UP. And I understand that right now there's a lot of hurdles that we're getting through. So I can speak to a couple things. First, I will say we are looking to go to 10-minute tea times on September 7th. And I know Vinny's on the line and he can also speak to that. But that's something that we've spoken to the Pro Shop on. And the tea time intervals are far apart still because of cart restrictions. I know that's one of the biggest concerns for the Pro Shop is being able to make sure that carts are available, but also we have to take into account they have to be sanitized. It's one of our heaviest protocols is that between every use, everything is sanitized, and that is really due to COVID. Benny, did you have anything to add on that tea time interval or carts or anything?
From what Rick had said about going to 7 to 8 minutes, it's just not possible right now with the individual cart restriction. I know some people can pair up, but the best we can do is 10 minutes with a possible starter time or block time every hour, just to make sure that we can keep up on carts and be able to offer people carts. If we went to 7 and 8, we'd probably be struggling by 2 o'clock to fill the need of golf carts. So every day, that's something that we have to keep in mind. And that's the challenge every day.
Have we had any discussion internally about the possibility of having the first 3 times of the hour be walking times, or to some scenario where we have tea times that are available only to walk as an attempt to free up some of the carts that you have?
That's not like a real option that I'd want to do. I mean, that's just another thing to have to manage.
Thank you.
What were the tea time interval prior to COVID? I don't remember.
7 and 8 with 2 walk-on times an hour. And if we go to 10, I think right now we're probably averaging about 245 rounds a day. If we go to 10, we'll get a little bit more of it. And I mean, right now it's okay. Like 10 is the max we could do with the cart restriction. Now, if we ever had the cart restrictions come off, because right now I can't ask 2 strangers to pair up in a cart, and after 4 or 5 hours, you could just see the carts dwindle on, 4 carts in a group. They go fast, and that's another reason why we can't do 5-somes is because 5 carts in a group, which would happen, they'd go even faster.
Vinny, I know all of us have had a huge amount of complaints on this, trying to book a tea time. I mean, everybody's complaining. Can you give us?
So what happened when they went to the back 9 bookings? This is a test for 4UP, and they've got a lot of bugs. Now, I had talked to Miley earlier, and they said they were planning on working these bugs out today. I'll check it out tomorrow to see if all those bugs are gone. And if they're not, we're going to roll back to not booking online the back 9 and going back to the prior 4UP, which, when I watched it, works properly.
So for clarification, essentially, when the back 9 was added into the system, the 4UP system, which was working prior to back 9 being added, it essentially released things a couple minutes early across the board, including the 18-hole full round play. So we've given the conversation to 4UP to say either it gets fixed or we have to roll backwards. We cannot allow the back 9 booking to affect all play. We understand that across the board. It is loud and clear. That was not the intention. So we're working to fix that. The company knows that. So they're working diligently on that today. But to Vinny's point, if it is not fixed by tomorrow, we will pull that back 9 online booking and we'll figure out a different system to continue to allow back 9 play. Because we know it's important to a lot of folks, but there's going to have to be kind of an intermediary solution to continue to allow that, whether it's maintaining a card on file through the 4UP account or whatever that may be, again, to limit that in-person transaction. So when you check in, all you're doing is the Pro Shop is clicking check in and your card's getting charged, which is what's happening right now. So we are aware of that, and it was by no means our choice, but 4UP really responded very well, and they're working to fix it. The beta component for the back 9 is not a lot of courses are doing this right now, and 4UP has added us to their list to get included in it, which I helped us to even allow the back 9 play to reopen as well. So that's the story on that, the 4UP and the back 9. Like I said, we're going to try to get you guys back at least to some normalcy in that. I know the minutes and when they were reopening or opening up in the morning was a bit of an issue.
No wonder everything was booked when I hit it at 6
You go back to the old system eventually here? Is that what?
I don't, well, that's going to have to be discussed. I don't know that we want to get into the old system. Right now, what we can focus on is during COVID, we have to continue to restrict in-person payments. That's where we're at. If we're talking about going back to the phone-in system, that's going to be a discussion for the committee, I think, through the operating resolution to some extent, and that work plan item of booking tea times. The operating resolution does speak to how tea times can be booked. So I think this is part of our future conversations of how that looks. But if the immediate issue and concerns, as Rick shared, are regarding the recent issues with 4UP, we are aware of them and we want to fix them right now. That's our goal at this point.
So I have 3 questions. Number one, $2,300. We pay them $2,300 a year for point of sale, correct, on the credit card. That's all we pay them?
That's correct. So that's adding in the point of sale component, which is a really good price. That's very comparable. We have point of sale systems throughout the city, and that's a really good bargain. So that's what we added on to our 4UP license, essentially, is what it is.
Well, number 2, there's point of sale every minute down at the Pro Shop. I'm paying for my tea time at the Pro Shop. I'm buying the token at the Pro Shop. Bucket of balls.
Right, and so all that is operational through Dave's. On the tea time end, our goal at the city, again, because we're not doing in-person payments for city facilities, Pro Shop aside, that's why tea times are booked online. We're requiring that pre-reservation and that ahead of time ability, so you're spending less time face-to-face. We're trying to limit the number of contacts that could happen during COVID.
Okay, my third question is residents. Is there any advantage for residents? Is there going to be any advantage for residents getting tea times?
I think there needs to be. To your point, 4UP has that capability to put in kind of the switches to say, oh, this person's not a resident, they can't book yet. All of those are capabilities within 4UP, more so than what we've had before through the phone-in system. But again, that's going to go to this committee's larger conversation of, do you want to implement a resident reservation system? Do residents get a 24-hour advantage? I don't know. That's certainly up in the air. I think all of those are really good concepts, though, and this course needs it. We've seen that we are booked across the board, whether it's a resident or a non-resident, but to this committee's point, this is a course for residents, and I know at the staff level we value that. I know the Pro Shop values that, So we would heed at the direction of the committee if that's something you guys want to implement down the line. I don't know that we can do anything tonight because it's not on our agenda, so we'd have to look at that at a larger level. But I think it's a really good idea.
What about if they
hold on.
call in? What?
No, that's okay. You're still on because it's your item. Go ahead, Rick.
What about if they book on by phone call in the shop and then stand out on the first tee with their iPhone and make payment?
So that if you've booked a tee time at any time in the point of the last month or so, your credit card's on file with us. So when your name comes up, I can click a green button. It'll charge your card. Just quick as that. Boom, you're done. You wouldn't even have to, come in the pro shop essentially. But we just wait to get your approval on it. And so you would essentially spend less time in the pro shop. And that's been a nice feature of this, other than the last few days of the problems that we've had. Prior to that, the 4UP has worked pretty decent with booking times. It's just different. And if it was the phone, if we were just doing phone, those times would go as fast too. We'd be answering the phone off the hook. And it's just right now we have a lot of people wanting to play. And right now it's 40% less tee time, so you can see the difference right away in the booking. When we go to 10 minutes, it'll help that, but we just have a lot more people wanting to play right now than ever before with less tee times.
Okay, Chris, yeah.
Vinny, do we have the credit card on file for everyone that signs up for a resident card? And does the system have the capability of helping you manage that for renewals on the city card?
I believe so. When the cards, most of the cards have been entered that are still active on there. When you come to pay for your new resident card, you get an email address attached to that and a phone number. So I believe we have the capability of when that is going to expire, you may get a notification that's going to expire, and you could pay for that, when that expires, and you don't have to do it in the pro shop. That's another thing that's kind of nice about the resident card thing. We don't have to write everything down. It's in the computer. Your resident card is in the computer.
That might be another nice way to look at if we have 7 days, perhaps 8 days if you have a resident card, and 7 if you do not.
Yeah, it's just I would have to see how that looks and how that affects the tee sheet. I'd like a demonstration of that before it goes live on something like that, because the worst thing you can do is get employees confused of what's going on and why. The last couple of days have been pretty chaotic of tee times getting booked 5 minutes before, and then someone who's doing the right way going to at 6 a.m. there's nothing left. So it's just been frustrating for everyone. And it was working pretty decently before the back nine thing they're added. I'd have to say it was working, not too many bugs.
Just to add to that, I was going to say when I log in to create a tee time, I can see in there it shows my resident card and the expiration date. Mm-hmm. So that's part of my profile, which is kind of nice. So it increases my self-awareness. And I have a Players Club type membership down at Arrowwood, who also uses the 4UP software. And with the membership I have there, I can do tee times up to 14 days out, but the general public can only do it 7 days out. So it looks like those controls are in place if you're part of the in-group, whatever we call it.
I'm looking right now at Ben Brown's, the ranch at Laguna Beach, and they are 8-minute intervals, and they're walking only, by the way, and face masks required. They are definitely part of 4UP system. They're working it the exact same way.
Tim, you had something?
No.
Yeah, there you had your hand up.
Yeah.
The other thing, Dick, just so the committee's aware as well, another component within 4UP that we haven't even dove into is the standby feature to become a standby player. That's always an option. It's kind of in lieu of the walk-up option. You can sign up for standby, and there's a lot of functionality in that as well. So this added component of 4UP that we've purchased now allows for that. That you can get notified that, hey, there was a no-show or there was a cancellation, and now there's a spot available. So again, there's some other nice things I think that we can get out of it if we just have to dig our teeth into it a little bit deeper.
Okay. Chris, do you have any comments?
I will say I was excited to hear the conversation about building a putting green again. That is an opportunity for us. It would be great to sit out and roll a couple of putts before the round and have it a little less slope than what we have today.
Agreed. Okay, my comment has to deal with what Mandy said. The bathrooms are atrocious. I had a tournament 2 weeks ago today. At 6:30 in the morning, the women volunteers that were working there said, "We can't go in the bathroom. It's so filthy." And I had to go in and clean the bathroom. I didn't clean the men's room. The men really didn't care that much, but the women do. The toilet seats are broken. There's so little lighting. I've never been in the women's room before, and I couldn't even see what I was cleaning. It's so bad. I think this is something that has to be taken care of right away. I understand that Wedgwood is responsible for the bathrooms, but they're closed. And I talked to Jordan this morning about this, and he said there's nothing he can do. He can't get his people there until late in the morning or afternoon. Women are going to play this golf course. It's just a second. It's just not fair. So I don't know how you have to get this fixed, Samantha or Miley or Jordan, but somebody's got to fix the bathroom situation.
I hear you. What I'm going to look into doing is if Wedgwood's not able to do it right now, and I can talk a little bit about Wedgwood in a little bit, just let me know when you want to get an update on them. I'm going to look into bringing in a contracted janitorial service temporarily, as we're kind of in, again, this very transitional middle of the ground road. I'm going to look to do that as soon as possible. And I'm happy to do that at other restrooms too if we're seeing that there's just a really big need for it. But I am aware that that driving range, that whole one restroom, needs a lot of care, and it needs it early because obviously there's golfers there really early.
And is there any chance that the bathrooms upstairs could open up again? In the hallway for Wedgwood, though, is that possible?
Yeah, I'll look into that as well with Wedgwood and see where they're at. I can tell you they are looking to bring some bar and food service back to the terrace area. I just got a proposal from them last week for outdoor dining. So that would go a little bit hand in hand. So once they have more staff on site, they'll certainly be able to do more of the restroom cleaning.
Okay. All right.
Dick, I am willing to go down there and look at the lighting situation. It may be a very easy fix because you could probably just pull out one fixture, replace it with a higher lumen output fixture, and solve the lighting problem.
Tim, you'd have 100 women banging on your door.
You have lipstick marks all over you, Tim.
All over you.
Yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
I'll go look at it in the morning.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But do it to fix the light, not because women will be all over you.
All right, is that it?
Good. I make a motion we adjourn.
Thank you, Rick. Second?
Second.
We adjourn to the November something meeting. When is it? November what? November the 5th.
5 at 6 p.m.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
See you later.